Hello guys, Ryan Ho back with another video. Today we have a mouse that's designed very similar to the most popular mouse, the Logitech G Pro Superlight. So, if you look at the design aspect of these two mouses, they're very similar. The whole entire design is actually hilariously similar. So if you take a close look at these two mouses, really, if you look at the front button design, they have that same center kind of mouse button type of look. They're very squared off around there, and then they kind of meet together in the front. The scroll wheel itself is the same. Obviously, this one is older. I've actually worn it out, but you can see the sides and then the kind of middle section as well of the scroll wheel is the same. And then even the length of the mouse is almost exactly the same. And then if you flip it on the side, you can actually see the side buttons as well. They're kind of very similar as well. So really, these two mouses are very similar in the design language. So you can say the Zaopin definitely took a lot of inspiration from Logitech here, but the actual shape of this mouse is a little different. So let's take a closer look at that. All right, so when it comes to the Zaopin shape, you can see that it definitely is an ergonomic shape. So the top of the mouse is definitely higher right here near kind of your index finger right here, and then it kind of slopes down over time. And then, the Death Adder V3 Pro, which is another ergonomic mouse, has the same type of ergo slope. Obviously, the Death Adder is a much bigger type of mouse, and it's also a lot longer type of mouse. So I really do think the Death Adder is a large mouse. You can see just how much higher your hand sits on this mouse in comparison with the Zaopin. I feel like the Zaopin is a nicer, kind of a medium-sized mouse that you can really kind of palm a little easier and not be too big. So that's the thing I like about the Zaopin. The coating of the Zaopin, this nice red right here, really is nice. It definitely grips my hand really well. The thing I noticed is that, the Razer, when I bought it a year ago, didn't come with a coating, right? This thing is just matte, so my hand would kind of slip a lot of times, especially how big this mouse is. So the fact that this is $60 and this is $150 and doesn't have coating is kind of sad. Now it's worth noting that the Razer does have a coating now with the newest mouse. They realized that that was a mistake and they added it to their newer mouses, but I had an older copy, so I didn't get that. Now, the other thing is that this mouse has, like I said, the ergo slope. You can see that the buttons actually slope down, so it gives you a little bit more comfort grooves because of that versus a symmetrical mouse like this Logitech will not have those type of comfort grooves. And then another indicator that it's an ergo mouse is the fact that it's wide, right? So it has a nice back width. So it really does have all of those kind of aspects, and it even has this kind of thumb groove as well. You can see that it has just a little bit. It's mostly straight, but it has just a tiny bit of it versus if you look at the Death Adder, it has definitely a more aggressive or more kind of flair to it. So really the Zaopin really is just a ergonomic mouse with not as aggressive lines. It's like a more safe shape of an ergonomic mouse. And I feel like that is kind of the theme of this mouse. It's just a nice safe shape that you can really use. And yeah, that's really the theme of this mouse. It just has this nice kind of safe ergonomic shape that I really do enjoy. And I think that's the part where this is really going to fit a lot of people's hands, and a lot of people are used to the kind of the Logitech design. So I think adapting to this mouse will be honestly very easy and kind of, effortless in my opinion. All right, so let's unbox the Zaopin. So this is obviously sent by Mech Keys. So if you guys are interested in purchasing these products, definitely head over to Mech Keys. Now we have this nice little kind of case. Well, not really a case, it's a soft case. And then we have the mouse wrapped up so it doesn't get wet. So I got the red version because I thought, red looks kind of nice. And yeah, this is the mouse. And then inside, what else do we have here? You can actually see inside the 4K dongle, which is really cool. That's definitely a unique look. Then we have a bunch of different tapes and grips, some slides, some grips. We got some more side grips. And then we have more feet, so PTF feet for the bottom. So with the cable here, which is a USB Type-C to a USB Type-A. And then instruction manual. Also forgot that it actually comes with a tool to take apart the mouse, which is nice because you're supposed to be able to swap out the buttons. Now when it comes to actual in-game performance, I just felt that when I was using this mouse, as my hand gets a little sweatier, it gets actually grippier because of this nice coating it has on it. And then the second thing I noticed is that my hand was just a lot more comfortable. My hand didn't really get cramped because really this mouse shape is really conducive to what people call palm grip, right? So you really can get your whole hand on it. It really fits really well in your hand. And I feel like it just does that really well. Now you can also claw grip this mouse as well, because the size of the mouse isn't as massive as something like the Death Adder. You can actually claw grip it as well. So you can pretty much use both of those grip styles, which is another thing I appreciate about this mouse. Now let's talk about kind of the buttons it comes with and kind of what they sound like. So when it comes to the buttons, I feel like this is just a clickier type of mouse. It really makes a lot more of that clickier, high pitcher type of sound. Something like the Death Adder or the Zaopin really have a more muted type of sound and less, like, I guess, clicky. So it really depends on what type of sound you like. The thing that I noticed is that the buttons right here don't have much pre or post travel for the mouse 1 and 2. These side buttons are honestly the best side buttons I've used. They really are very fast, clicky. They really don't have that much pre or post travel. It's kind of insane how fast and responsive they are. I feel like the difference is really that the Logitech one is just so bad that the improvement to the Zaopin makes it feel like the best side buttons I've ever felt. So yeah, it's definitely very impressive. It's even better than the kind of inot. And compared to the Death Adder, it just feels like they're both really kind of, I guess, really snappy, but the kind of shape of the side buttons are very different. The Zaopin just protrudes a lot more versus the Death Adder is less clicky and it's kind of more like, I guess, closer to the wall of the mouse, right? But yeah, so if I kind of had to compare the Zaopin at, the $60 price to the inot G Hero at $60, which one would you choose, right? And really, for me, what I like about the inot is that the inot really has 8K, so it is really responsive versus the Zaopin only has 4K. However, the Zaopin has better build quality, especially in the side buttons, so I feel like the Zaopin kind of edges it out over there. And the shape of the Zaopin is also a little bit more comfortable, but then I feel like the inot is, a little bit more of a claw grip mouse because it's kind of lower. It doesn't have as much of those ergo curves and it's not as tall of a mouse, nor is it as long of a mouse. So if you want a smaller mouse and something that can lock in a little bit more of a claw grip or like a fingertip grip, I feel like the inot is a better mouse for that as well. But then again, the Zaopin has, hot swappable switches. So if you don't want your mouse to double click, and if it does, you can easily swap out the switches really easily without having to solder. So really there is a kind of, cost of benefit for each one. However, if you made me choose between these two, I slightly lean to the inot because I do like the 8K and the extra responsiveness. I feel like it's a small difference, but it's there, and that's kind of the reason why I personally like the inot. But they're both good mouses, and honestly, they're cheap if you don't want to spend, $150 on, the flagship mices nowadays, or I guess even like $190 on these kind of final mouses as well. All right, so we have the Zaopin software. You kind of, pick what you want to assign your different buttons. Over here, we have the different polling rates, and then you can have ripple control, angle snap, motion sync, and all these other features that you can set, as well as lighting effects. You can set some macros, and then over here, you can actually update your firmware. So if you didn't realize, this is exactly the same software as the one that Lamzo uses as well. So in conclusion, the Zaopin Z2 really is a ergo mouse. I think it has the least aggressive shape. And if you really, really like the Logitech mouse and the design aesthetic, I think you could adapt to this mouse really, really fast, really well. And I think the shape is really comfortable and it's a really nice kind of palm grip mouse for a lot of people. Anyways, I hope you guys find this video helpful. I'll leave links to mech keys if you guys want to pick this up. And yeah, please like and subscribe. Helps my videos out. And I'll see you guys in my next video.